I'm Jason.
I'm Adam.
And I'm usually Dave from the Digital Soup Podcast.
A proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts
At GonnaGeek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 287 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, November 19th, 2017, over on geeks.live, the official streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. And looking at the calendar today, a very busy place to be on this Sunday. There's a lot of live shows going.
We were still first.
Back off our Sundays, bitches.
Nobody's taken our time slot. They've just encroached very closely on our time slot, so we're okay.
We'll fight for it, and you'll lose.
I'm lazy, though. I don't want to fight.
That's right. I can take any other podcast on the network by myself.
Okay, now I'm intrigued and almost want to have a fight started. So
I'm actually a little curious on how this one will go.
If you guys want to fight with Anthony Bachman of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, tweet to @Anthony Bachman and @ATGN podcast on Twitter.
Is it Bachman Anthony or Anthony Bachman on Twitter?
It's on Twitter. It's Anthony Bachman. I had to switch it on Instagram. There's some prick that took my name and then doesn't post.
Yeah, it's how it is for Chris Farrell on Twitter too. They haven't posted since 2012.
That happened to Bakanaki too.
I'm sorry, did Naki just turn into an 85-year-old woman with a shawl over her shoulders knitting?
Basically. Yeah. I have. So everybody.
She had her breakfast and now she's in digestion mode. Blanket, wrapped up, knitting.
I mean, to be fair, everybody's getting knitted shit for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever celebration you have. Or
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
Festivus.
It's for the best of us.
That's all it is. The podcast fight is just a feat of strength. It'll be for
I can
Festivus.
kill you all with my fingers.
Thank you, River Tam.
No, that's killing with mind.
My mind.
Close enough.
I can't kill you with my mind. My mind is a dark and dirty place. You don't want to go there. It's true facts. In any case, yes, I'm a 95-year-old woman as I'm working on this scarf that I've been working on for forever. Pissed me off.
I just want to say you added 10 years to that. I only said 85.
Whatever. I go to bed at like 9:30 because I have to be up super early in the morning too. So I'm just like, yeah, I've turned into a 95-year-old woman.
I wish I could do that. My alarm goes off at 5 a.m. every morning, but I go upstairs at 10:30, and it's generally not until 11:30 where I'm like, okay, I should go to sleep now.
Oh man, no, I'm a girl who needs her sleep, and so I go to bed at 9.
You're getting up at 5, like 10:30, 11 o'clock. That's some late nights.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. Can't sleep until any earlier rather.
I do too. I have to get up between 5:30 and 6 in the morning, so I need my sleep because I'm an old lady, and I deal with numbers all day. And if I don't sleep, I'm gonna fall asleep doing that. So.
That sounds about right. Stupid financials.
Yeah, basically. Yay.
So like I was saying, welcome to the show, everyone, where we talk about geeky and nerdy stuff or just random stuff that entertains us.
Like Oreo churros and...
Oh my god.
And smush.
And butt stuff.
Not the butt stuff.
Oreo churros and the butt stuff. Welcome to ATGN.
Had to be done.
Was that in the pre-show?
No, but the smushing was.
Yeah, the smushing.
She had to make the hand gesture again.
This is how it goes.
She even put down her knitting just to show you.
This is what would happen.
Oreo churro, butt stuff, smush.
So is your fist the butthole, or is your fist the churro?
That would be the butthole. And then when you try to do the churro, it just goes smush.
Just smush. Oh, okay. I just saw this after smush part.
There's no structural integrity to a churro.
And I just want to reiterate, I did not mean for those two to go together. They're just separate things. Hey, if you're into Oreo churros and also into butt stuff, put it in the paper and hopefully someone else will meet you up to.
Craigslist nowadays.
But the thing is that that song is terrible, first off, but it's
It is.
In the song, it's his wife who he's trying to cheat on who picks up the paper.
They're both horrible people.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're both horrible people. Look at you trying to genderize that, just saying the man's bad. What's wrong with you, Naki?
I didn't genderize shit.
Technically, the wife did it first, so she's the worst person. How's that?
No, the wife is the one who picked up the paper. The man is the one who put the paper in the
ad in the paper.
The ad in the paper.
No. He read the ad that the wife put in, and then he replied to her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It was her ad first that he replied to.
Oh, okay. Then the wife is the worst one there.
I feel like I completely missed the topic here. I'm very confused.
Pina Colada song.
The song we were singing
on as Escape.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Live and learn. I had no idea.
Yeah, if you ever listen to the lyrics, that song is actually like really terrible.
Mm-hmm. They're basically both awful people
for each other.
It's just got a catchy beat to it. That's all.
Yep.
Oh, it is.
But they like taking
that's like
brain.
If we're going more modern with catchy beats that are terrible songs, that's also like Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines.
Oh, hold on a second. It's not a terrible song. It's the terrible meaning. The song, I think, is actually okay.
All I know is Carrie Underwood keeps writing songs about murdering men for cheating, so I wish that trend would stop.
I don't think there was any murder in the song.
Oh, yeah.
She's
done a couple where it's ended up... No, there was a key in the car one. It's escalated.
Oh.
There's at least 2 singles from last year where the guy gets murdered.
I just know about the car one where she killed the car.
Yeah, no, her violence in song lyrics has escalated.
Can we just stop killing people?
That's what I say.
Kill
Doubtful.
2 billion
Doubtful.
people. That's what we need to do.
Humans are really good at it, and we'd like doing it, so I highly doubt we will ever stop killing people.
2 billion.
Oh, yeah, and Willie's got a list, so...
Oh, I haven't got an official list. It's just
Well,
assholes and people that don't
gonna
use
take a
turn
while.
signals.
Yeah, that dude that cut him off in traffic and yelled at him. That one.
Yeah, and fucking shook a hammer at him. Shit, yeah. He's on the list.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on the list. Probably, I assume.
I wanted to sing a song about a list, and something about a kiss is on the list, but I can't make that song.
I've never been happier for fair use arguments than right now. Never. What the hell?
Segway. Segway burp. Hit the button.
Yep. That was for you, Chris.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet. It's the news of the week.
So I was going to edit that out until it got turned into a segue burp. And now I'm just going to roll with it. I mean, I'm actually writing notes of things to edit. And then...
Mark that shit out.
No,
Segway burp.
I'm going to leave it because segue burp is entertaining at least. And then I don't have to edit it. And I'm lazy, remember?
I mean,
I'm trying to make things easier.
Is this a lazy off challenge? Because I think I might win over that
I don't
one.
know. What this actually is the news of the week, which is the part of the show where we run down what we think is the most interesting, at least in our minds, geeky or nerdy news from the past week.
Emphasis on only in our minds.
Yeah.
can I go first?
Naki, why don't you go first for us so you can get back to your knitting?
I'm still knitting, whatever. So, I have a lot of presents to make. Goddamn.
Come on,
Anyways.
Grandma Naki, tell us a story.
It's okay. No one from Naki's family is going to watch the show, so they won't get spoiled. We're
It's
okay.
true. It's true. Nobody
This
from my
is
family
story
will.
time with Naki.
No.
So the story this week is that Anthony went and saw It and liked Dark Tower more than It.
Yeah,
So
you're objectively wrong.
therefore, Anthony is wrong, and I wanted to call him out for it.
Nope.
How is this
I-
news?
Yeah,
This
that's
is
not
news.
news.
This is news because Anthony, we all knew that he was going to hate It from the start.
Yeah.
But so we literally had like an hour-long debate in our chat room. We have, or not our chat room, in our ATGN private chat. We literally had an hour-long debate on why Anthony was wrong. It's also a slow news week. And
It's not my fault they didn't understand the basics of the story,
but yet Dark Tower,
which is
Really?
a loop story which can be told in any different way you want. It's just not the story
Even
of
if
the
it's
books.
done shittily.
but it's
Yeah,
the
I didn't say it was a great movie.
you
it's not
still
even a
liked
good
it better
movie.
than It though,
Yeah,
which is
What-
wrong.
no, because it totally missed the fucking point and had no fucking
No.
heart.
It did not miss the point. If you watched it, you still knew it was it at the end of the story. When you watched The Dark Tower, when you got to the end of The Dark Tower, you're like, hey, guess what? This could have been any fucking movie that had a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah, except you got to see Roland fight the Wizard in Black, which was awesome.
Which literally could have been any... Matthew McConaughey cannot act with a green screen.
Now wait, hold on a second. Now, is the Man in Black the guy running all the strings in the background? I don't think so. Is it? No, it's not.
No, that's the Crimson King.
Who the fuck cares about him?
Roland does. That's why the first and last sentence of the 8-book series is the Man in Black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Roland cares.
Thought you didn't really show it. You just showed the. Was that the eye of the Crimson King?
No, I have the whole Man in Black. I can't turn my forearm.
There you. Well, you tried and you failed.
And yet, you still think Dark Tower was a better movie. How
you should
could
be the most upset out of all of us?
Exactly. How of all of us who Dark Tower of all of us, you should be the one that is most upset at that bastardization of that series into one movie that is a piece of shit.
That's because it's not that series. I easily wrap my head around the fact that they didn't even try to put 8 books into one movie.
So
they just wrote a different story.
So why are you so pissed off?
Because it was still Roland. It was still the quest for the tower. It was still a gunslinger going after vengeance instead of doing his job.
It was still Richie. It was still Bill. It was still fucking. I can't think of names because I'm too tired.
It was Bill who told no story. Kid. It was a fat kid you didn't care about, Ben Haskam. Fucking Richie wasn't even funny. Like,
I thought it was funny.
I liked him.
All that cursing for my kids, always hilarious.
Yeah. Well, cursing's funny, but yeah, it was too much. We want it to be Stranger Things. And yeah, I didn't care about the kids even by the end.
Who's we? Are you lumping me in as we wanted this to be Stranger Things?
No, we, the makers of the film.
You're a maker of the film?
Motherfucker.
If you want to go...
It sucked!
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Anyways, that was what I wanted to bring up, and that Anthony was wrong. That was my news of the week.
Chris, go ahead and put in your 2 cents. Have you seen either one of these movies?
I have not. That's why I just kind of leaned back and let you guys have your conversation.
What are you doing with your movie pass, Chris? If you haven't seen either one of these
I didn't have a
movies?
movie pass when those came out.
Excuses.
I can tell you what I've seen with my movie pass if you want. It's all in the app. I just have to pull up the app.
I still haven't seen
the list.
Yeah, let's see. What's the movie pass say?
Is My Kiss on your list?
Is what?
No, it's not, Willie.
Oh, it logged me out, so I can't get to that list easily. Fuck you, movie pass.
Damn you, technology.
Well, that transition sucked.
Sorry, guys. Oh, actually, no, I might be able to log back in and save my password. So what have I seen as my viewing history? Let's see. Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Thor: Ragnarok, The Foreigner, Princess Bride, when that was out. Just saw Justice League, and then there's one that's not showing up because I know I've seen more than that. So
wait. Hold, time out. You said you didn't have Movie Pass when it and Dark Tower came out.
Correct.
You clearly saw The Princess Bride, which came out in the 80s, so you had to have had it since then.
I'm assuming it was
bullshit me, motherfucker.
They did one of those one night only, like Fathom event kind of things, and I used my movie pass to go see that.
He just got his movie pass, but he's had a time machine.
Yes.
So he went back to the 80s and saw Princess Bride in the theater.
And somehow made this movie pass debit card with a microchip on it work in the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah, a microchip.
A cash-only register.
Mm-hmm. Who'd have thought, man? Who'd have thought? Certainly not me.
So what you're saying is your life's kind of like the butterfly effect, but with movies.
Don't say anything, or it might change movies as we know it.
Some movies I'd be okay with.
Yeah, but what if I screwed something up good, like The Empire Strikes Back?
I don't really care.
What?
I do.
We've been through this.
You know Willie don't care about Star Wars because he's a jackass.
Once again, I know the stories. I've seen all the movies. I'm just not a fanboy about it.
It's hard to be in a fandom these days. So, to be fair, Willie has that. So
I've never cared really about it, but I do want to see the movies.
I'm trying to help you. God damn it.
And I thank you so much, Naki. You are usually right.
Chris went back to the 80s, and somehow that did not stop them from making Back to the Future 3.
There's limits to my power, guys. I can't stop
It's
it.
not that bad.
It's pretty bad, though.
But it's not that bad.
It's better than 90% of the shit we got this year in the theater.
Like Dark Tower.
Yeah, right?
That was not my intent. That was not my intent.
Bringing it
So what
full
you-
circle.
It's Willie's
So what you-
intent.
So what you can get from this, from what Chris is saying, from not saying anything, is that he agrees with us and Bachman is a stupid poopy head. Thank
He's
you,
not-
Chris.
That's not what Chris is saying.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
we'll go
sounds
with
like
that.
that sounds
Anthony
like
went
what
into
Willie's saying.
Anthony also went into it wanting to hate it, so
That is.
Yeah, because
he's
I
one
could
of
tell
the
from the
first
trailers they
term.
already missed the point of the clown. So
What is the point?
it's a
do you want
fucking.
Anthony's version or the book version?
Either way, it's fucking the same. The clown is an extension of the creature that is actually stuck underground from its impact from space. It's
Again.
a fucking psychic monster that feeds on psychic energy and actual bodies. It sends the clown out as a tendril to entice things. It's like bait. No fucking kid in the world would get within a mile of a clown that looked like the one in that fucking movie.
Again,
Georgie did.
I'm gonna go back to
Only
my
because
argument
it was in the script.
of how would you put a talking space turtle flying through space and time
See, you're
into a
trying to
horror
argue
movie.
Wait,
something
are we
totally
talking
different.
about Scientology now? Because I'm very confused.
It's basically Scientology.
Yeah, basically it is Scientology. It's a cult that spread from Derry, Maine.
And I hope people infer this correctly. But also, Scientology, the miniseries, sucked balls.
There was a miniseries?
I'm talking about it.
I would thought you were meaning the last Indiana Jones movie where Indiana Jones discovered Scientology.
They're raping
Yeah.
Indiana Jones. Sorry, I was watching
I,
South Park.
why is
And the
everyone so
crystal
upset
skull
about
and a
the what's wrong with the fridge?
Because you can't survive that. That would it's
The
just dumb.
motherfucker drank from the Holy Grail. Jesus
That's true.
Christ.
It was an atom bomb.
It's the Holy Grail.
Unless he comes out of that fridge the Hulk, it's bullshit.
It brought Sean Connery back from the dead. And not even he can't even do that now with his acting career.
Wait, is Sean Connery
Whoa.
dead?
No, he's
No.
not.
He
No, I'm
retired.
talking about Indiana Jones, god damn it.
I'm
Indiana
so
Jones should have
happy.
retired before Shia LaBeouf showed up.
I don't know, man. Scientology is now a pretty popular thing.
That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, but you could argue that about podcasting too. Oh, I said that.
Yeah, except we're not ruining anybody's lives.
Ruining
you
my
sure?
life with edit points.
I'm trying to ruin 2 billion lives. What are you talking about?
Are you
Yeah,
sure?
but you haven't yet. And there's a lot of churches out there that got a hell of a head start on you, Willie. So you got a lot of catching up to do.
You
Not
goddamn
just
right.
churches.
But Willie, what have you been getting into? What's your news? Because I have no way to transition. Because every time I try, we went back to it.
My news of the week that I was a dumbass.
Okay.
Yay! All
I think
right,
it was
thanks,
like
Willie.
2 months, maybe a month and a half ago. I don't remember. I was an idiot and was like, and did a spur of the moment. Like, I would just do this right now. And I pre-ordered Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Did you forget? It just
Why
showed
would
up
you
at your
do
door.
that?
I don't know. It's just in my brain made sense. Like, oh wait, you need to do this now. I'm like, all right, I'll do this now.
You don't even like Star
And instant
Wars.
regret.
Instant
But I do like-
regret. Is it
but-
not a good game then?
But Battlefront 2 for the PS2 was one of the best Star Wars games ever.
Yes.
I was hoping that, and the promises, or not promises, but I was hoping they were going to be better than, was it 2 years ago, Battlefront.
And
I mean, it's a very pretty game. It shoots well. I mean, it's DICE, so you know that's going to work. It is very pretty. I mean, extremely pretty. But that's about it. I'm not really into shooters that much, but I do enjoy it. It's a
Did you
game.
only do the multiplayer, or did you try the single player storyline too?
I have not had a chance to do the single player storyline at all. I started to, but then someone invited me to something else. I was like, oh yeah, I want to do that instead.
I know that looked good, and it's Janina. I can't remember her last name, but she was Shiva on the League. She's like the main Empire soldier that you're playing as.
So this is a crossover with the League?
Yes. You're playing as Shiva Kamini Kandakram. Leader of the Special Forces Empire unit.
Can you guys do the rest of the podcast without me? Because I want to go play that. I want to get Rafi bombed in the game.
Rafi bomb. No, I mean, in all seriousness, though, I was considering Battlefront 2. I got turned off on it because of something we'll talk about here in a little bit. But the gameplay looks gorgeous. I did play the open beta. Did you try it when the beta was out, Willie?
I think that's why my brain made me pre-order it, because I thought that you had to get the pre-order to get into the beta. No, that's just 2 extra days early of the beta, which my internet sucks so much it didn't even get I didn't even get those 2 days.
Yeah, I see in the
can internet.
Sorry?
In can internet.
Yeah, pretty much. Draftsman's calling you out. He goes, Willie's telling us this game is pretty, very pretty. The man is trying to convince himself to like a game he is not in love with.
I don't have to like it at all. I mean, the other stuff that we'll get into later is probably what is the most damning of it. But as it is a fun shooter game.
Have you played any of the campaign? Is it any good?
I have not tried any of the campaign. I was like trying to quit out the podcast early to go do it. Remember, get Rafi bombed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My bad. I forgot. So you'll have to play the campaign and let us know how you like it. I've heard it's pretty good, and I've heard it actually ties into some of the story of the upcoming Star Wars movie, but I haven't been able to confirm that for myself.
Oh, me either. But it is very pretty. I mean, I'm not trying to convince myself. I was amazed at the beta. Like, holy, I can't believe they doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it does look gorgeous. It's one of the games that is upscaled very nicely for both PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X. It has HDR, 4K upscaling for both of them, and it looks gorgeous. It's just, we've talked about on this show, go back to the early days of Electronic Arts is really screwing up a lot of stuff, and some got screwed up with Battlefront 2. Did you guys hear anything about the controversy behind the microtransactions and loot crates for Battlefront 2?
This sounds like a segue.
This is a segue. We're on a little scooter right now. So, if you hadn't noticed, Battlefront 2, there was an assertion put out there that this is going to turn into pay for play, isn't it? Well, that's because prior to some fixes they were going to put out, one user calculated because that you earn in-game credits based on time or on your score in a match. It would take you probably 40 hours to unlock enough credits to unlock characters in the game like Luke Skywalker, who cost you 60,000 credits of in-game currency. That's ridiculous. 60,000 credits equals 40 hours gameplay, assuming you only saved credits to unlock that character.
That's a bit hefty.
A little bit of a...
Yeah. So, kudos to EA. They got skewered for this. They got skewered on Facebook, on Twitter. They did an AMA on Reddit where they got destroyed over all this because fans were like, okay, this is crazy. I need to spend this much time and do nothing else, or I can give you a bunch of my hard-earned cash to unlock loot crates that then unlock credits and different things like that in game.
But wait, Chris, didn't they already give up their hard-earned cash in buying the game in the first place?
That's right. They did buy a $60 game to begin with. So I talked about this on the Gonna Geek show, and I've talked about it on here before.
Oh, hold on one second. No, that's $60 for the base game. Correct. Some people, there's probably a lot more people paid the $80 one, or isn't there like a $120 one as well?
There probably is. They put out multiple collector's editions of all these things. And I made the argument I think it was on Twitter, where I said, you know what, I'm not opposed to microtransactions and loot crates in game. Like, if you've played a game like Fortnite, there are microtransactions and things like that in there. However, Fortnite is going to be free for everything when it comes out. It's in a closed beta right now. You can pay to play. And the open world battle royale stuff, it's all free. But there are games that are free to play that then you can buy things using microtransactions, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with microtransactions too if it's to unlock cosmetic crap, because that's what they did for Titanfall 2. you can unlock this pack, which gives you 6 different skins for your Titans. I was like, I give 0 shits about that. I'm fine with this. This does not change the way in which the game is played, does not make me level up faster. Because, some of the bonuses in Battlefront 2 that you can unlock are auto-aim adjusts. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
What?
there's auto-aim adjusts in there. You can get cards that give you, plus percentage towards your auto-aim.
Yeah, that's pay to play for sure.
Yeah.
It's only that. Might as well play it on my phone.
Oh, that is something I did notice. The only way to level up your characters is by getting the crates. That is the only way. Because I was playing I'm a level 4 assault. How come I haven't gone up? I've been playing 4 games and just I hadn't seen anything leveling up. Now when I get a crate, unlocked a emote for it, and it went up a level. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right. So going back to
shitty.
the whole EA story here, the community team had responded on the Battlefront subreddit about the original costs for unlocking, saying that that's, quote, to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Needless to say, everyone said that's horse shit. The comment, that reply rather, as of November 13th when I looked at it, had a negative 228,000 downvotes on Reddit, making it the most downvoted comment in the history of Reddit.
Nice.
Yes. Now,
So it's making history.
Yeah, this is also 6 days ago when I last checked that count, so it's probably gone down more. So they did backtrack then after that. They said, okay, we're going to cut the cost 75% on all these things, so that instead of having to pay $60,000, it's I don't want to do math, but basically they made it a lot easier so that it would take much shorter playtime to unlock these star cards, unlock character cards, and things like that. But there's still another catch, because gamers were still not happy with that. Still said this is a pay to win.
No. Oh no! They also cut back 75% of the credits you earned doing the campaign, the solo player campaign as well.
I missed that piece where the solo campaign had been adjusted. So, needless to say, fans were still a bit butthurt over this, and they expressed their displeasure online. So the day the game launched, and bear in mind, it had been out 2 days early for everyone that had Origin access and EA access on Xbox.
Well, those were the people complaining.
Those are the people who were getting the chance to play it. They yanked all of the microtransactions out of the game.
What?
The day it went live. So the loot crates, the pay-to-win crates, all gone. Caveat being, they might come back at a later date when they figure out the right way to put that system in place with the game.
Hint, there is no right way.
There is no right way at all. Now, there's still more drama to go with this one, guys, because now we're into a game of he said, she said. There was a news report I saw that came out on the 17th that said part of the reason why EA yanked the microtransactions at the last second is that Bob Iger, the chairman of Disney, called and said, we're seeing a lot of negative press on this Star Wars game we've licensed out to you. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do about this? So that was the first piece where everyone went, okay, that's interesting. And now, that was the he said part. Let's go to the she said part. A couple days later, I'm sitting on the internet. I want to say yesterday, I saw this article and I sent it to everyone in the group chat, that the original plan for microtransactions in Battlefront 2 was very similar to what you saw in Titanfall, which would be cosmetic things, change up the guns a little bit. Not really a pay-to-win approach, but more of a pay-to-make-your-characters pretty approach. And Lucasfilm said, no. We want it to be character unlocks and things like that so that we can leverage it and make more money. So now it's a question of who's telling the truth in here. Did Lucasfilm come in and tell Electronic Arts to screw people over? Did EA make a decision on their own to do it, and Lucasfilm and Disney had to come in and say, whoa, let's fall back on this? Regardless, the internet was in an uproar, and there were people that were assholes about it, and there's people on the internet that are, you'll always see that, because there were people tweeting death threats and stuff to developers. That's not cool at all. The people who are doing that, you're terrible people. The developers are doing their jobs. Tweeting them death threats does nothing to change the situation. It makes you a total asshole. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, no. Death threats are bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, so Battlefront 2, they took out all the microtransactions for now for the loot crates and stuff. We can probably expect to see them back at some point in time. Regardless, it's a PR black eye seemingly for the fans because they were assholes about it. For Electronic Arts because they had to change course 3 different times. And then potentially for Disney. So nobody's coming out a winner on Star Wars Battlefront 2 because everyone is pissed off when it's all said and done.
But it still is a fun game to play if that's how you're going into it. The mechanics are there. I'm just saying that.
Sailor Poland says in the chat room, Disney screwing over Star Wars fans for $10 an issue for issue 1 and $5 for other issues. Nah.
I tend to agree more with Sailor Poland. He said it wasn't screwing the Star Wars fans. It was horrible the way EA handled it. Yes, they have seen the writing on the wall, and I've talked about it and other things before, that microtransactions is the way to make this living economy so the game lasts longer. Single-player content, all that does is help you sell the game to begin with. People will play it for their 40 hours, and they'll never pick it up again. Why do you think they tossed on multiplayer into Mass Effect 3? A series that had never had any instance for multiplayer. It didn't really make sense. They put a multiplayer mode on there, and to be fair, it was fun. It tied into the story loosely, but it was fun, and it did have little loot crates that you could buy. Then you see the evolution of that for Mass Effect Andromeda, where it seems the story suffered, and then they put a lot of effort into the multiplayer. And remember, they shut down all support for the single player on Mass Effect Andromeda. No more content, no more DLC, but they're going to keep the multiplayer support going because they're making money off of it, because people are buying crates with in-game currency. So this is the evolution we have seen in gaming, is these loot crates, these microtransactions in-game and things like this. And I think it's damaging single-player game content a lot, which is part of the reason I was excited when the Wolfenstein 2 devs came out and said, "Now we didn't put any multiplayer in ours because we wanted it to be a single-player story. We wanted it to be a good story, and having to do multiplayer takes away from that." Now you could also argue it takes away the bang for your buck, because once you play the story, you're basically done. But it makes for a good story, because I've played Wolfenstein 2, and I'm still playing it now, and it is hella fun, and the story is good, and it's also incredibly bloody. But that's neither here nor there.
I think that's a lot of the problem that I've had with gaming. Not that I game much anymore, but it's just like I don't necessarily want to go online and play with people. Like, I enjoy playing by myself, mostly because I know my schedule, and like trying to get a group together to like do a 4-player raid or whatever and it's back to that World of Warcraft type feeling where you're like, Tuesday night is raid night. All 60 of us from the guild need to be on at the same time. Or fucking whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, the organization, that was always a pain.
Yeah. Well, and then just to get 4 people together to do like a Borderlands run together is really hard. So, I mean, it's an interesting way that you can make friends with people online. I know Willie has done that with Overwatch. But I do enjoy the single player games just because then I can play it on my time and I don't have to worry about someone judging me for how bad I am at shooting something.
I think part of what you said about having to schedule things and things like that is why you've seen a rise in popularity for games like PUBG and Fortnite Battle Royale and things like that, because you just get tossed in and you can team up with people, you can do it by yourself, and you've seen that kind of grow and become its own phenomenal thing. I mean, I don't have PUBG yet. I might get it when the Xbox comes out, but it's ridiculous to watch all the people on Twitch or on Mixer who play that game and the following they have, and it's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's not. I find it hard to be sustainable but then again, I've kind of got ADD when it comes to gaming because I'm like, ooh, shiny over here, and it's why Pokemon works for me, because Pokemon I can just keep collecting monsters.
And then you got Nintendo that keeps dropping out all these great single player games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't really say much about the loot boxes or whatever in Fortnite because you have to actually pay $40 to get into that alpha, beta, whatever it is, part of it.
Correct.
Because it's just the battle royale that's free. But the microtransactions and the loot boxes is not why I still play Overwatch over a year later. It's because the mechanics of the game still works and it's still fun to play. They got that down.
It's Blizzard.
And you still get
that's their thing.
Yeah,
and
Blizzard
it does nothing for gameplay. It's just cosmetics only. That's it.
Same thing with Titanfall 2, which is why I loved that when that happened. I'm kind of bummed because Respawn got bought by EA now.
Well, and also with Overwatch is that they also keep releasing characters, and you don't have to pay for them.
And levels.
It's great. Like Blizzard does have that nailed down. They got that nailed down with starting from the beginning. With just Warcraft. But
I mean, let's look at it. WoW's been out for 15 years almost now.
Yeah, something
ridiculous like that, and the player base is still ridiculous.
But you still have to pay for the expansions for that, though.
They have a monthly subscription fee, yeah.
But I think they give some of it away for free now too. Like I think they're doing the same thing with StarCraft now. You can get the first campaign, there's 3 campaigns to StarCraft 2. The Wings of Liberty, which is the Terran one, is now free on PC, for instance.
I believe the same for the first storyline for World of Warcraft. Like, if you get the original World of Warcraft, you can play that for free. And then it's just the expansions from that point on that you have to pay for. And I don't know if they still have the monthly subscription, but I think they do.
They do. Yeah. They haven't gotten rid of that yet.
But I mean, they do need to make money to substantiate how much space that they do provide for their players.
Right, which is why I think if you're reasonable about either microtransactions and loot crates in game or subscription fee and things like that, I don't have a problem with that. But the biggest thing for me when I tie this back to the Battlefront story is when I first read the story and the amount of hours it would require you to spend in the game, I just kind of went, holy crap, this is not a game designed for me as a fan to go and, as a casual gamer now, sadly, to be able to play a few hours a week and succeed in. I was like, within the first 2 weeks, it's going to be all these people that have either A, sunk a bunch of cash into it, or B, done nothing but play the game. They're just going in there smoking people. And that just doesn't seem like fun to me, especially after I've already paid $60 for the experience to get it.
Yep. Agreed.
Can I do my line now?
Go for your line, Willie.
This is microtransactions on a macro level. And I fucked it up.
I was going to say.
Which made it less funny. Chris was wrong about there being no winners so far in the Battlefront 2 thing. There is one winner. I had to look it up because I cannot remember her last name. Janina Gavankar, that is the leader of Inferno Squadron. If you're following her on Instagram, she is winning because she's been doing all sorts of gaming events and interviews as the character. And now she is a Star Wars character, but then at one of the events, I think it was Nerdist, but I'm not sure, somebody actually made her helmet. So she actually has a life-size replica of the Inferno Squadron Black Special Forces helmet that on her Instagram, like, she exploded when she got it. So she's winning. She's the one winner from Battlefront 2.
Yeah, the footage of her at Star Wars Celebration this last year and the fun she was having there. She's someone that's obviously loving her job, and it's been fun seeing her do stuff online with Sam Witwer, a.k.a. Starkiller, a.k.a. Darth Maul from Rebels and things like that. And they've both are people that love the fan base they're involved with, and it was really fun to see them like playing games on Sam Witwer's Twitch channel the other night. And I was like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, I think 2 awesome actors.
I think I'm going to be a winner too because I'm going to play the game, enjoy it, and never pay for a loot box thing.
I mean, really, depending on how quick you beat it, you can always take it and get $30 store credit if you trade it in somewhere.
Digital.
There you go.
Oh, you got a digital? Oh, you're host.
I bought digital.
Yeah.
When all my shit got stolen, I learned I'm just going to go digital for most of my shit now because if I can always get another PS4 and then boom, I have it still.
Makes sense. Then there's some good digital Black Friday sales coming up for both Xbox and PlayStation. But to wrap up the Battlefront topic, I think Sailor Poland nailed it. Let me read what he said in the chat room. We'll transition out. He said, Battlefront is not a game. It's an economy. It's about spending money, not playing a game. And I think that's the problem you see here. Now, to give them credit, though, they did at least put a single-player campaign in Battlefront 2 because there wasn't one in Battlefront 1.
The problem is you have to say
everything was multiplayer.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying, Willie?
So the problem is you have to say at least.
I'm trying to be positive. I wasn't trying to steamroll and railroad.
No. I'm saying that if that's what people have to say, that's a problem on them. Like, oh, I guess we have to put a single player campaign in it to appease all those assholes.
It's why I didn't pick up Battlefront 1 until I picked it up for like $5 to play. I played it for 45 minutes, went online, and I was like, I don't care about this. And I said I paid $5 for it. Who cares? I'm out $5.
Yeah, see, I have it because I wanted the Darth Vader PS4, so I played it for a couple of months. It was a fun game.
I know that.
But I didn't sink any money into it.
Friend of the network, Steve Boyd, has put in a ton of hours into Star Wars Battlefront 1. I'm sure he'll do the same with Battlefront 2 now. Like, that's his go-to game, is Battlefront 1. So I'd be curious, and maybe I'll reach out to him on Facebook or Twitter and get follow-up and say, hey, I know you love Battlefront. How did all of those microtransactions were going to be in it before they pulled it? What was your thought on that? Was that making you shy away from the game any, or did you just kind of accept it as that's the price of playing the game? Because I think that's a different viewpoint than other folks might have. Is I'm a stick in the mud on some of this stuff. I'm like, no, F you, I already paid my $60. You can go to hell. Or my $80 if I got a season pass because I knew that there'd be stuff coming I wanted. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
when you
the
pay
same way,
60,
though.
80 bucks, you should get an actual full game.
Agreed. If you're paying that much, you should get the full game.
So I don't feel bad about like South Park. I paid for the gold version that came with a season pass on it. I played the main game. It took me a little over 20 hours. I didn't feel like I lost anything. And then seeing the stuff that's coming down the path, I'm okay with the little bit extra I paid to get that stuff later.
I will probably get that game at some point.
Yeah, it didn't feel like other games where the season pass stuff feels like stuff that should have been in the story but wasn't. There was a definite starting, beginning, and end for South Park, and then it felt like the DLC would be kind of like a mini sequel.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean, come on, it's going to be an assault on Casa Bonita. You cannot beat that.
Casa Bonita.
Casa Bonita. Da, 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 da. But before we start singing, hey Anthony, why don't you tell us about your news?
My news is that my favorite X-Man is apparently getting his own movie. The reason I've had to spend years defending X3, which is an awful Brent Ratner film, is because it was the first time Jamie Madrox ever appeared on film, and I loved the way they did him in that movie. He took out the whole U.S. Army by not fighting, which was just a really cool use of his power. And also because you couldn't have him at the last fight because no one can beat Jamie Madrox because he's an army unto himself. But we are going to get apparently a James Franco multiple man movie coming from Fox. And so I'm torn because it's either going to be Wolverine Origins Deadpool or actual Deadpool. And it could go either way with Fox. So I'm as scared as I am excited.
I'm not a huge James Franco fan. Like, I like some of his stuff, but I don't.
That's the thing. I've seen him do bad movies. I've seen him do great movies, but I don't think I've ever seen him do bad acting in movies. Like, if it's not a great script and a great director, then he's just, okay. But yeah, I've seen, there's some of the like independent films he's done where he acts his ass off. The guy does have talent. So I don't think it'll be up to him whether or not they get the character wrong. It'll be up to whoever ends up writing the script and who directs it.
That's true. I mean, the Disaster Artist looks great. So
yes,
yeah, yeah. As awful as Tommy Wiseau looks, I mean, yeah, James Franco looks like Tommy Wiseau. He looks like he nailed that weirdo, strange character. But yeah, just the idea. Yeah, actually, the idea that that's one of the ones they're going to next for Fox. It was insane when I saw that announcement that they're going to multiple man. Because unless you're like me and read all the X Factors that Peter David ever wrote, there's a lot of people don't even know who Multiple Man is, much less are fans of his. He doesn't have like a huge fan base, but he's also been involved in a lot of really big X-Men stories. Like in Age of Apocalypse, he was Apocalypse's army that took over the entire planet. In the Ultimate Universe, Magneto used him to take out like 10 major cities. Like, he's been integral to some serious storylines, and he's a really fun character too, depending on which storyline he's in, who's writing him.
I think that
I'm excited.
has a lot to do with it too, if he's actually written well.
Yeah, and that's the other question of which story are they telling? Because there's, Jamie Madrox showed up in Giant Size Fantastic Four issue 4 and beat up the FF. It's one of the other reasons I love the character. In his origin story, first appearance, he did what Doom hasn't been able to do in 70 years. He whooped the FS ass, all four of them. But yeah, like he's the isolated character that was stuck on a farm for years. He was the kind of sidekick in the first redo of X Factor when it was Havoc and Polaris and all them instead of the original 5 X-Men. And then there was the X Factor investigation series that Peter David wrote, where Jamie sent out a couple like 100 dupes to live separate lives for a year, and then brought them all back and reabsorbed them, so he got all of their knowledge. And then he took that and became a detective, and they started running a detective agency called X Factor Investigations. If they do that show, like it could be another version like Jessica Jones, which we've had tons of people like the investigative way they did that show. So Jamie Madrox solving crimes, I'm down for that. That could be a great movie.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Plus, yeah, and I want to see how the hell they do his duplication power, because it was okay in X3, but it just seemed too easy, and there was no pop. There used to, in the comics, there used to be a pop every time he made a duplicate. I want there to be a sound.
There's a couple comments in the chat room. There's why are we getting Multiple Man but not Magneto? And then Chris did.
Magneto's been in 7 films.
And Chris made the point of Fassbender is too expensive, which is true.
Yeah.
It's because X-Men Origins Magneto got canceled after X-Men Origins Wolverine sucked balls.
That's true. Yeah, he
Huge
was
balls.
the next one. Yeah, he was the next one listed, and then they canceled that film.
And then Sailor Poland says, part of what makes Madrox work is Peter David's imagination. I mean, he chain locks his apartment, and who else would think of that?
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, the way he can use his dupes to do things that no one else can think of. It's really cool. Plus, yeah, he's the only mutant to get the legacy virus and not die. Because the legacy virus used your own mutant powers to kill you, and his original body wouldn't reabsorb his dupes. So one of his dupes actually became the Prime after Jamie Madrox's real body died from the legacy virus.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that.
I did
Yeah.
too.
But yeah, that's when he disappeared from the series for a while. They did the whole psychic backlash to the dupes, and one of the dupes was off fighting on another superhero team, not knowing who he actually was.
Huh.
Yeah, everybody else that got the legacy virus died from it. Strife made a mad bad virus. That thing worked good. It killed everybody except Jamie Madrox.
Yeah, I'd forgot all about that, to be honest. I didn't read a ton of X-Men books, though, either. The X-Men weren't my bag.
I have every issue of X Factor that Jamie Madrox is in.
I got burnt out on X-Men just because there were so many books.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he's my favorite X-Man character, and he's never, other than, cameos, like when he's working as an assistant on Muir Island, he's never written in the main X-Men titles. He was always in X Factor.
Did they say when this movie's slated to come out? Did I miss that?
No,
TV
I didn't
show.
see any. I didn't see anything about a date. I think it's literally just them talking in talks now to like sign contracts. Yeah, all it says is that the only two names attached are James Franco as Jamie Madrox, and then who is it? They had writer Alan Hinberg, who wrote Wonder Woman, and producer Simon Kinberg.
And it is a TV show, correct?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, it's a movie? Okay, I thought it was a TV
Yeah,
show.
so a film. Yeah, as a TV show, it'd be awesome that if they did Alias Investigations, especially honestly after Legion and Gifted. Fox's Mutants on TV are doing really good. Like both of those shows are really enjoyable.
Well,
I
at
couldn't
least
get
haven't
into
watched
Legion.
either of them.
until Fox sells all that stuff. Because remember, the rumors are going around they're trying to sell, and there's a few different bidders. And do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but it would be interesting. That'd be a hell of a way for them to get the Fantastic Four and the X-Men in the MCU.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Legion. I watched the first, 1.5 episodes. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. This is explaining nothing to me. I can't do this.
I've heard
Which actually is one of the
about-
reasons I loved that show, because it didn't explain everything out the gate.
Yeah, I've heard
No,
it
it
was
doesn't
great.
explain the story itself. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. All right,
Yeah, you have to
somebody
get,
in a
like,
mental
six-
asylum.
You
What's
have to
going
get
on
like
with this?
6 episodes in before you even have a basic understanding of the story. And I like how they did that because they made the show confusing.
And I've heard The Gifted was also pretty good. It's just I don't have the time in my schedule to add any more shows this season.
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
waiting
running
for
that.
Hulu's The Runaways.
Yes, I'm kind of taking the SP approach on new shows right now, not all of them, but I'm going to wait a little while on some of these to see whether it actually lasts so that I don't get invested and then be like, you MFers canceled this show I like.
Yep,
Yeah.
that keeps happening. Speaking of shows that we started watching, Boyfriend threw on a Future Man, one of Hulu's originals.
I was going to mention that.
It's kind of funny. We're only one episode in right now, but Eliza Coupe is one of my favorite people, and I adore her, and she's in it. So,
Wait, Eliza Coupe? What's she from?
she was in Scrubs. She was in the last
Denise.
couple of seasons. She was Denise in Scrubs. If you watch that show,
Mhm.
she was also in a
The
show
last
called
series.
Happy. She was in a show called Happy Endings that did pretty good for like 2 seasons, I think.
That sounds like innuendo.
There is a reason for that innuendo.
Had to be done.
That's still one of my favorite jokes of all time. From the Guild.
Innuendo?
Yeah. She tells the one guy, all you ever do is talk in innuendos. And he's like, yeah, I'd like to in your endo.
I love
Yeah.
Was that the model guy? That was the model guy who said that. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, the thief.
Yeah.
Well, guys, as we start to wrap things up, this is the moment of the show. We like to remind folks that the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast is, in fact, part of a network of shows that you can find over at GonnaGeek.com. We have over 20 different shows that cover a variety of topics, some that are specific to television shows like, say, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., some that are about geek culture in general, some that are shows that are kind of performance art shows, things like that, all sorts of things. But each week we try to highlight one specific show, give you a taste of something else and say, hey, maybe you guys should go check that out. And this is where we throw it to one Willie D. Nelson and say, Willie, what show are we talking about this week?
We're talking about the Starling Tribune today, as they discuss Arrow Season 6, Deathstroke Returns, number 175. The Starling Tribune reporters Stargate Pioneer Chris and Michelle review the 5th episode of Arrow Season 6, Deathstroke Returns. Episode highlights include the anticlimactic nature of the vigilante reveal, Chris fanboying out over Deathstroke's return and fights, Michelle creates the Deathstroke Kid drinking game, Michelle's mom's FBI investigation analysis, and just where was the Deputy Mayor Quentin Lance, and Starling Tribune speaks out about the recent Andrew Kreisberg sexual harassment allegations. That sounds like a heavy episode. Back to you, Chris.
It is a heavy episode, but you guys do know Deathstroke's my favorite character from the Arrow TV show, so I was geeking out because he was back this week and the week before, and those two episodes were some of the best they've had in recent years because he just gets to wreck face. Seriously.
Manu Bennett was great in the last two episodes.
He just wrecks face. Not this, at least the first episode, Deathstroke Returns. In this one, there is a 2-minute scene where he just wrecks face as Deathstroke, mowing down terrorists and criminal gang members to try and find something. And you're just like, holy shit. I remember we used to have these just one-man army kind of fights. And I was like, this is what I missed from Arrow. So I put this one in there. I know it's slightly self-serving because I'm on that show, but mostly because I wanted to be like, oh my God, Deathstroke was back. And it was awesome. If you hadn't watched Arrow in a while, this is a 2-episode arc that it might not hurt to go back and see again because it's very Slade Wilson heavy and it's really fun. It's really fun.
And I liked it when he wasn't even in the armor yet, when he was just in the training room and he lost his shit. And then by the time the kid shows up, he's just drenched in blood because he was just killing everybody with a sword.
It was
like that scene looked like a horror film. Like he went crazy.
Yes. I mean, they used to do the flashbacks in Arrow from Oliver's standpoint, and these 2 episodes, it's flashbacks from Slade's point of view to how he becomes Slade, how he becomes Deathstroke, to the things that happened to him when he was off the island. It was pretty great, and I really enjoyed it. So, seriously, if you were a fan of Arrow and you'd given up watching, this is at least a 2-episode arc that it might be fun to go back and watch because it's got Manu Bennett kicking ass, and it makes me go, I want a Slade Wilson TV show or a miniseries or a Deathstroke series, something like that. Please make it happen. I care about that character so much more than most of the people on Arrow right now.
But Chris, if they do that, who gets to play that version of Deathstroke? Because now we have 2.
Yeah. Manu Bennett's costume looked so much better than the one we saw in that movie. Just saying.
Yeah.
Joe Manganiello looks, a mini spoiler, sorry guys, but it's one of the post-credit stingers, who cares. Joe Manganiello looks cool as Slade Wilson, looks like the comic book version of them, but Manu Bennett, he's badass. I hear Ron Perlman's voice in my head most of the time when I read a comic, but now it's kind of become interchangeable with Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson.
Nice. Because was it Perlman in Teen Titans?
Teen Titans, yeah, he was Slade Wilson there. They did not call him Deathstroke because that could not get approved. Yeah, they just called him
Slade because it was a kid's show.
Yes. That being said, it was awful dark.
That show got real dark real fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you bring in Slade Wilson and start talking about murdering children, like the whole basis of the Teen Titans villains, I mean, some of them, it's some dark storytelling.
But we are at that part of the show where we need to start wrapping things up. I need to stop geeking out over Arrow. This is a little bit we call What I'm Into as we wrap up. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, we can talk about them and convince you to give them a try as well. So, Naki, why don't you kick us off? What have you been getting into? Or we can come back to you if you want.
No, that's fine.
She's being an 85-year-old woman.
I'm being an 85-year-old woman, and I'm not knitting a lot because the holidays are coming. Even if I don't give away all the hats, I'll be taking them to the women's shelter that's not far from here. On top of that, I've been watching Big Mouth on Netflix.
It's hilarious.
Which
That was
is
funny.
hilarious
I liked it.
and far raunchier. I didn't know what I was getting into, so I didn't know what it's really raunchy. Don't watch around children. I've also been watching BoJack Horseman with boyfriend, which enjoying that. But that's also a sudden feels out of nowhere show, so there's that. And then we're going to finally go see Thor Ragnarok today. That is the list of today.
Naki, I'm pretty
About
sure
time.
you're going to like it.
Naki's an entire movie behind. We're waiting to do spoilers on Justice League, and she hasn't seen damn Thor Ragnarok yet.
Well, I'm not going to see Justice League, so you can spoil the shit out of that. I don't give a shit about that movie.
You can't really, you can't really spoil Justice League. If you saw the trailers, you know everything that happens in the movie.
Spoiler for Thor, you see a nice Hulk ass.
There is man ass. There is gamma radiated man ass.
Anyways.
And Hemsworth takes his shirt off for you, so you got that too.
Well, they know that's coming. It's a Thor film.
It's a Thor movie, of course. Chris Hemsworth, I'm fairly positive, is a perfect human being, and it's just not fair.
He's not the perfect of the Chris's. That's Chris Evans.
I don't know, man. I mean, Chris Hemsworth has like an adorable baby, and
well, see, here's the problem. You've got Evans, you've got Pratt, you've got
and this is why we have Avengers Infinity War, because it'll be the three Chris's versus Thanos.
But you don't even get the Chris who was Steve Trevor in Captain Kirk. You don't get Chris Pine in there. So there's too many Chris's in Hollywood.
There's a lot of Chris's.
Name. And they're all delicious.
There's your show title this week, and they're all delicious.
And they're all delicious.
What else? What else is going on? Shit. Oh, so yesterday we went to the Wilton outlet store. Yes, the baking giant Wilton has an outlet store in Woodridge, and totally worth your time if you need new pans or anything like that. I got 3 pan sets and some like odds and ends like gingerbread houses and that sort of thing. I spent $50. So to get a Wilton outlet by you, totally worth your time. And then spent more money on yarn because Lord knows I don't have enough yarn, as I have 3 boxes full of yarn currently. And then this week is Thanksgiving, so we have a race on Thursday morning before Thanksgiving dinners and stuff like that. And then I will be bringing some friends that I have in town from Korea. I am picking them up, and they're coming to their first American Thanksgiving, so we'll see if I completely shell shock them with my family. It'll be fun times.
It sounds like it.
Where are they coming from?
Oh, Korea.
Korea. Wow.
Yep, from Seoul. Drasman says, I will not stand by as you objectify those men, reducing them to their pretty faces and abs. They have feelings too. You are correct. They do. And that's what I was saying, is that Chris Hemsworth is, because I got to meet him before, like, he is a very nice human being. He has an adorable child who he's also apparently a great father for. And I'm just like sitting here like, how can you keep all the pretty and all the nice? Like, it's just not fair. And usually Australians I don't get along with.
And he's funny.
There's that.
He's
funny.
too.
Here's the thing.
It's
I haven't
just
heard
not
anyone
fair.
say a bad thing about any of the Marvel Chris's or the DC/Star Trek Chris.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anyone be like, that guy's an asshole. Because
2 of them had a football contest to decide which children's hospital they would go to in costume. I mean, come
And they
on.
both still did it.
Yeah, they're fucking awesome.
I mean, and Chris Evans would probably punch a Nazi in real life too, just like his character.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, if you follow
might.
him on Twitter, he's pretty outwardly spoken against our current president. And then Chris Pratt, I think the only thing that came out with him with his scandal was like when him and Anna Faris were getting, or are they still getting a divorce?
I think so. I don't know.
Think so.
But they were like trying to find some scandal with him, and they couldn't find any scandal.
Yeah. He's a legitimately good dude, it sounds like. But let me go next with what I've been getting into. I saw Justice League on Friday night, and heads up, if you want to go into a spoiler-filled review on Justice League, swing by the Starling Tribune about 6:45, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're recording 2 back-to-back. The second episode that we record is going to be all about Justice League, where we go spoiler-filled. It wasn't terrible. I had fun with it. I felt like the second act drug, much like the Avengers did. That being said, to me at least, you could definitely tell there were two different directors that had done parts of it, because you had the typical Zack Snyder, flashy, over the top, boom, boom, explosion, CGI. Then you had character moment where a quip is exchanged and two characters have a conversation. You go, oh, that's really cool. And you go, oh, that's Joss Whedon. And the CGI for Henry Cavill's mustache, it was okay, but you could tell. I will say this in regards to Justice League. They finally made a modern Superman that I really like. Henry Cavill's take on Superman in this, and the version of Superman they portray on the big screen here, that is Superman. They finally got it in my book. It's not the emo, sad, smash, destroy everything. It's a Superman that's lighthearted. He cracks jokes, all about truth, justice, the American way, and things like that. Henry Cavill is very good as Superman. I really enjoyed it. I want them to do... I don't care as much about a Flash movie or something like that. Give me a Superman movie with how the Superman character has evolved at the end of Justice League. Yeah, and spoiler alert, because if you didn't know, Superman comes back to life in Justice League.
Surprise!
As if we all didn't know it was going to happen. And you can pretty much call what the MacGuffin is within 30 minutes in the movie, how they're going to bring him back.
Question. Are they going to do a Aquaman and Wonder Woman team up? Because that will probably be the only movie I would say.
There has been no talk.
They will, and they'll call it hair metal.
Yeah.
Fair.
You know, and ironically, I think that as much as I enjoy Jason Momoa, I think his character was one of the weakest ones in the movie.
Because it's Aquaman, and nobody knows how to write Aquaman except for Jeff Johns.
Pretty one-dimensional.
He's tied with Ezra Miller, because Ezra Miller is no Flash I've ever seen. He sure as fuck wasn't Barry Allen.
Ezra Miller was a hybrid of Barry and Wally and a little bit of Impulse, excuse me.
I'd say he was more Bart than he was anybody.
Yeah.
He's basically autistic Flash, is what they wrote him as. Like, in all fairness, that's what the character they wrote him as, and that's not Barry Allen.
I didn't think he was terrible in the role, so there's that going for it. Let's see. Other things I've been getting into. I've gotten caught up on all of the DC shows this week. Supergirl was basically filler. You could take it or leave it. It was a good filler episode, but it's totally filler. Arrow was the part 2 of Deathstroke. Legends of Tomorrow, every time I start to not enjoy it, they do something ridiculous and zany, and I'm like, okay, I'm back on board with it. So I'm really curious to see what happens to them after the break, because Black Lightning is taking their time slot. Yeah, the Freaky Friday was cool.
Those actors playing each other was so hilarious.
Oh, I know. It was really great. A few other things I've been getting into. Playing more of Super Mario Odyssey. Pretty much we had folks over to come watch the football game yesterday, so I had my switch out, was playing Mario Odyssey when I wasn't paying attention to football. It's a perfect game for just killing some time with and having fun with. Played a little bit of Wolfenstein 2 this week, not a ton. I'm still having fun with it. And I did also pick up Assassin's Creed Origins because I got a good deal on it. And holy crap, does the 4K enhancements on it look gorgeous. The game looks really good. I'm not even a huge Assassin's Creed fan, and I've played about an hour and a half in it right now, and it's still fun to me. So we'll see what happens on that one. But that is what I've been getting into. Bachman, take us off next.
I also saw the Justice League, and yeah, it's sad that it took him 4 movies, but yeah, I like Henry Cavill's Superman in this movie. He's fucking Superman. Not only is he not emo and whiny and all that stuff, but somewhere in the little director's toolbox, Joss Whedon dug his little hand in there and found the brightness knob, and he fucking turned it up so that Superman actually has a fucking blue costume.
Yeah, his suit's actually blue now.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, the big blue Boy Scout's actually in a blue costume instead of something that's damn near black. It's so dark. Yeah, the changes to him were fantastic. And I don't know if it was just me, but did the nose on Affleck's bat suit just seem like they added an extra inch to it? It seemed like the face plate was just wide in every scene where they showed his face. I don't know what it was.
In the first bat suit, not as much in the bat suit he wore at the end of the movie.
And the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I was happily surprised by how much I didn't hate Justice League. And yeah, Ezra Miller is not fucking Barry Allen in any version of Barry Allen I've ever read. But he was a funny character. And we've been talking in the chat room, State of Poland said he's a Joss Whedon character. He is very much a Joss Whedon character. And he was funny. He had great jokes. And Aquaman had great one-liners in the movie. Jason Momoa is great. I don't think he's any version of Arthur Curry I've ever read, but honestly, I think he's more entertaining than any version of Arthur Curry I've ever read. So he made for fun scenes. And yeah, the special effects, one of the things I was worried about was Cyborg In some of those early trailers, he looked awful, and I just figured they would eventually keep working on that, and they did. By the end of the movie, Cyborg looks great. Like the special effects of that weird like Matrix-looking body they gave him, like they did a whole lot of CGI work, and they made his all his metal pieces look freaking cool. But yeah, I couldn't stand the Flash armor. It looked awful. But I mean, yeah, it was a fun movie. The stingers were fun. They did some cool stuff with it. I thought Steppenwolf looked badass.
I thought it looked like a CGI mess.
Yeah, he looked like a big CGI badass, but he looked a hell of a lot better than Goomba Doomsday did. So they got that going for him. I would watch Justice League again, no problem, and I still don't want to rewatch Batman versus Superman. So it's definitely a more enjoyable film. It's actual fun. So yeah, I did that. I'm keeping up with my daily sketches down to less than 40 days now. Yesterday was Voltorb. Today is the Elect Orb, whatever the next one is. Electrode. Yeah, 2 circles, easy days.
I was about to say, did you enjoy drawing a circle?
Yep, nice, easy circle Pokemon. And then
that was a good circle.
I think I believe I sent out 2 more of the Kickstarters yesterday morning. I believe that's my last Jedi Master that has to be shipped international. So I've got a couple more Jedi Masters left, and then the Sith Lords, and I will finally be done. It's nice to be down on the downside of slope finishing it up, but yeah, still got to get a couple done. So I'll be spending all my time doing that. And then yeah, I've been watching while I've been donating plasma, I watched the entire first season of Supernatural. That is a really fun show. When you're if you need to kill time, a show that has 10 seasons on Netflix, I figured it was a good place to start. Yeah, I finished off the first season, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is on it. Freaking Negan is the dad of the kids on that show, and he's fantastic. He's a real cool demon fighter. I've been enjoying it. So yeah, it'll be fun to finish watching that because at this rate with my bills, I'll be donating plasma twice a week forever. So I'm gonna be going through a lot of Netflix shows.
Netflix or Hulu? I'm about to drop Netflix temporarily for Hulu, I think.
I watch Hulu at home because I still have the ex-roommate's information plugged into the Blu-ray player, but I have Netflix on my phone.
Yeah, that works. So, Willie, wrap us up. What have you been getting into, sir?
Battlefront 2, Justice League. The only thing I really got to say about that is that 2-hour movie feels like a 4-hour movie because the pacing is bad. It drags out. And Punisher, finished all of that. It is very good. I would say watch that, not Justice League. And Friday night, a bunch of friends had a big party. We had 6 TVs set up, a bunch of PlayStations and Xbox Ones going on. Just fun times all around, and making pizzas.
Pizza.
I do like pizza. So, Willie, I'm going to give you an opportunity here to convince me I need a PlayStation 4 because I see some of the sales right now. They've all dropped to $199, and there are certain places like GameStop, if you can get it on the day they do, it'll be $199 with a $50 gift card. Convince me to do it.
All the reasons I could give you won't be to you, except for one. Spider-Man.
You're goddamn right. I stole your catchphrase. I'm sorry.
That's the big one. The biggest reason.
That's for Chris in particular, is the Spider-Man game.
It's only fair. You buy a PS4 to play Spider-Man, and then I'm gonna buy the Xbox to play Anthem with all y'all on Xbox.
Yeah,
well, except for me.
I'm seriously considering it because I don't need another console, but this signifies the fact the price is probably going to start dropping a little bit on both the regular Xboxes and the PlayStation 4s. So I'm starting to go, there might be some point in the future where I can find a good deal and might make the jump to it. And I did also see that the the Core VR set was also on sale for $199 too. So
I mean, $199 is a good price for a PS4.
Especially if you can catch it with the $50 gift card too, because that's basically get a game for free.
Yep.
And I would also say, hold off on the VR until they have the Rick and Morty game. Then you can definitely get it.
But they have the Star Trek Bridge Commander game.
I do have that, but I just haven't played it.
It sounds...
So if you get it, I'll play it with you.
All right. I will think about it.
That's your second reason. How's that?
Here's the problem, though. I don't have any space in my entertainment center for another console right now.
Time to go to IKEA.
Problem?
That's your big
IKEA
problem?
or Target.
The
You can
problem
get
is
the cubes over at Target for like
I'm using the entertainment
15
center
bucks.
that's actually built into my fireplace in the house, so I don't really have many options unless I rip out the whole corner unit and replace it, and that's not happening.
But why though?
Why?
Just put a hole in the wall.
Because that's a
Stick it
lot
in
of time, money, and effort.
But you can just put a hole in the wall too.
Oh, guys, I gotta be able to sell this place one day.
What is taking up so much space?
I will send you a picture of my entertainment center setup after this.
Do you also have a standalone? Because why?
Do I have what now?
What?
A standalone Blu-ray player?
No, I have the cable box, the Xbox, the Switch.
Oh, there you get rid of cable. Done.
I'm
Willie with the simple answers.
So I'm actually considering that because we're supposed to be getting gigabit internet soon, and if that happens, I may just drop the cable and go to PlayStation View.
I mean,
So that might be happening. And then I could watch it on my PlayStation, is what you're saying, Willie.
Indeed.
Yeah, sure, if you want to use View. I mean, it wasn't for me because I don't give a shit about live TV. That's my only thing. I don't give a shit about it.
I would get Google TV if I could, to be honest, but it's not available here. Or YouTube TV, excuse me.
I have no idea what the hell that even is.
It's unlimited DVR. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But looking at the time, we are going to start wrapping things up. A friendly reminder that we do stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over on geeks.live, which is the streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. There is a variety of shows streaming on there today at 1 p.m. Eastern, so about 40 minutes as we're wrapping this up from now. We have Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. At 6 p.m. Eastern, we have the Starling Tribune discussing the second part of the Deathstroke return. And then about 6:45 p.m. Eastern is the Starling Tribune discussing and going full spoilers on Justice League. And then finally at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight is Pop X Cast. So we got all sorts of entertainment for you on Geeks.live today and throughout the week. So just head on over there. You can watch anything you want. Plus, you'll see the calendar of all the live content we have. So seriously, go check it out. We got a boatload of live content. But before we wrap this up, you guys have any final thoughts for us?
I need to go to the bathroom, wrap up.
So I need to
Damn it! I got a tea!
down.
Oh yeah, and Shane makes a
Every
great
time.
Punisher. I like
Every
Shane the
time.
Punisher.
So that's it?
Oh yeah, Shane. He was Shane in The Walking Dead. That's right.
Yep.
He was at that. So I guess on that note, we're going to start wrapping things up and say we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Booyah!
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.